Thompson Speedway, the next place for the Maritime iRacing League to show their face, and with plenty of racing left to go in the season, points still on the line for what's going to be a very contentious 125 laps around the banks of Thompson Speedway. You are watching LSRTV's live coverage of the McKinnon's Garage 125 live from Thompson Speedway. Joe Cortez, Evan Pisoko in the booth for you here on LSRTV. And Evan, get ready for a barn burner. 125 laps at a track that at best can be called treacherous.
That's the understatement of the night there. Taking a look at these guys in practice, they're bumping all over the place. They're slipping and sliding. It's going to be a tough track for these guys to tame 125 laps. It's going to be a lot of beating and banging there for sure. If we see any sort of result like we saw earlier in the week with the MIRL Sportsman Series, it'll be interesting to see who's there at the end to contend for that checkered flag.
If anyone's left to contend for the checkered flag, as it's been said before, after tonight, what hasn't been bent will end up being bent. Qualifying now underway in practice. Ricky Arbeau was the top of the board. Mike Rhino second. Mike Alexander, Stephen Matthews, Mark Williams your top five. And Ricky Arbeau is a name we've heard a lot of here in the Maritime iRacing League Series this year. But he hasn't been able to finish very strong all year. Could tonight be the night he breaks the curse?
He's definitely going to be looking for that. You got to take a look. He does not have a win on the season. He's going to be looking for that, entering tonight 10th in the championship standing. Still has a shot at it as we're still fairly early. He has a fast race car week in and week out. He's just got to put together a good run. And looking at the way the atmosphere of this race is going to go, that 61 can definitely get the victory lane if he stays up front and out of trouble.
If he stays up front, if he stays out of trouble, which is always a challenge here at Thompson. We talked about it a little bit earlier tonight amongst ourselves, and Thompson is not a track to be trifled with. It is a track that will very easily take your car out of contention. It is a little bit higher bank than you would think for a short track. It races almost like Bristol in this iRacing version, so be prepared to watch some very fast, very quick Bristol-type racing here at Thompson Speedway tonight.
And definitely also got to take a look at the weather, running a little bit of a different than the stock iRacing weather setup. Overcast out, obviously, as you can see on the racetrack, 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds fluctuating out of the northeast right now, 10 miles an hour. We're seeing that change in relative humidity at 60 degrees. So just throw a little bit more of a curveball into those race cars tonight.
Qualifying coming to a close. Jake Goodwin in the 48 machine. Looks like he will be your pole sitter. Mike Alexander on the outside right there. And Jake Goodwin starting to put together a nice little season for himself. In his starts here, he's had 2 wins. His average start and finish is around the 5th place position. He's had a very consistent season. 548 points right now for Jake Goodwin, currently in position number 2 in the standings. Ronnie McKay still up front with 2 wins. Keith Mack in 3rd. Carter Wilson 4th. Kevin Savory rounding out your top 5. Mike Rhino, Steve Matthews, Hollywood, Tim Terry, Mike Alexander, and Ricky Arbeau rounding out your top 10 in points. And it's still a very, very tight points race. Only 24 points between 2nd and 3rd, and 4 points between 3rd and the tie for 4th between Carter Wilson and Kevin Savory.
And definitely, you mentioned some of those names up there around the top of the points. Did very good last week. Jake Goodwin in the 48 taking the win at Langley Speedway. Stephen Matthews 2nd. Keith Mack 3rd. Carter Wilson 4th. Doug Hubley running up the top 5 for that race as well. So it's proven indicative that if you're going to finish up top in those races, it's going to show up in those point standings. However, only 2 people in the top 10 right now with wins are the both people sitting up in the positions number 1 and 2, being Ronald McKay and Jake Goodwin. Actually, Mike Alexander 9th has 1 win. Everybody else, fast race cars, you got a Stephen Matthews, Mike Rhino, Kevin Savory, Carter Wilson, Keith Mack, even Tim Terry up there sitting P8. All those guys have had some solid race cars, and they're going to look to capitalize tonight.
A couple of drivers you will not see on the track are ones that were caught in a little bit of controversy, almost MWR style controversy in the offseason. Patrick Healy has been suspended from MIRL competition till December 31st. Craig McDonald suspended till January 16th, all because of a little bit of driver mix-up. Craig McDonald last week running in the 5 of Patrick Healy's car under the Patrick Healy account. So both those drivers being caught there for unsportsmanlike conduct and breaking the iRacing end user license agreement. So don't look for those drivers to show their face again in this Winter Series anytime soon. Pat Healy, Craig McDonald, major mistake that they are definitely going to feel the repercussions of.
Yeah, the thing that's obviously going to be a premeditated thing that they were trying to get work there, or you never know. But a good job of the race officials, just holding a firm ground and making sure that they keep control of the league here and make sure everything stays on the straight and narrow. And we see some good racing tonight. Just to put into this perspective, the Sportsman Series, obviously running here on Monday nights, saw a total of 9 cautions in 75 laps. So out of those 75 laps, 46 of them under the yellow flag with only 2 lead changes. So whoever gets that pole, that's going to prove to be a very important position when you look into tonight based on the results of what we saw earlier in the week. And right now, sitting on a provisional pole, the 48 of Jake Goodwin, last week's winner, looking to make it 2 for 2.
Now, Patrick Healy did make an apology earlier this week to the Maritime iRacing League. He said he apologized for not having perspective on the entirety of the season, only being focused on being locked in for the second half of the Winter Maritime iRacing League Series. He apologized to his team, CBC Racing, and everybody involved there. But I still believe that there's going to be a lot more repercussions that they're going to be feeling throughout the night tonight. Still 125 laps to go here at Thompson Speedway. Jake Goodwin, Mike Alexander will be on the pole tonight. Let's go ahead and take it down trackside for the playing of the Canadian National Anthem. The Canadian National Anthem in honor of our friends from the Maritime iRacing League, coming out of the Maritimes of Canada, primarily the Nova Scotia area. Find out more at mirl.ca. Drivers meeting coming to a close. Your head administrator, Hollywood, Tim Terry, giving them the final instructions for tonight's race. And Evan, this is going to be a very contentious race. What are you expecting to see tonight when we go green flag racing?
I'm really expecting it to be a survival of the fittest. Obviously, you're going to want to try to stay out of trouble, but sometimes trouble's going to find you, and it's going to come down to maybe somebody's going to hang back or they're going to make a quick charge early up to the front, but you really have to be cautious there in mid-pack to knock it over aggressive and make sure you have all the fenders on her at the end of the race.
Which is going to be a challenge for each of these drivers. These guys have to figure out how to get around the track, how to make this track work for them. The high banks of the turns are going to make it very challenging, and if the Sportsman race was any indication of what we're going to see here in the Super Series, we're going to have one slobber knocker of a race. Be prepared to see them pile up in the turns. Be prepared to see mass carnage through each of these turns. 125 laps shouldn't sound like a whole lot of time at this very short track. Less than a mile, just about 2/3 of a mile. But it's going to be a long night, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The field's starting to take to the grid. These drivers already, they know what went down Monday night, so that's going to be in the back of their mind. And it's going to be interesting to see how they attack this as we're on the grid.
Leaders on the grid now. Let's go ahead and take you down tonight's starting lineup. On the pole, Jake Goodwin turning in a time of 19.682. I believe this will be his 3rd consecutive pole here in the Super Series. On the outside of him, in position number 2, Mike Alexander in the 15.
Take a look at row number 2 inside third starting position to 98 of Stephen Matthews. Outside him starting P4, the 27 of Carter Wilson.
Mackenzie Brewer in the 45 machine. He will start in position number 5 tonight. On the outside of him, it's 6 in points. It's Mike Rhino starting 6th.
Another fast car is a 22 of Keith Mack taking to the grid position 7 inside row 4. Outside him, the 66 of John Gahan.
The 05 of Todd Cousins finds his way around here to start in position number 9. Outside of him in row number 5 will be the 38 of Travis Roma.
Looking on the outside of that top 10, P11, the 18 of Chuck Morehouse, and Kevin Savory in the 88.
Your points leader, Ronnie McKay, starts on the inside of row number 7 in the 97 machine. Outside of him, Mark Williams in the 24 starts 14th.
Nathan Doherty's going to roll the number 6 machine onto the grid in that 15th position. 16th spot going to go to the 86 of Jeff Gilman.
Row number 9, the last row, taking time tonight as these cars start to roll off for their parade lap. Vic Greenwood and Ricky Doug Ubley and Vic Greenwood finishing row number 9.
Touched on Ricky Arbeau there, the 61 starting P9 team. First car on the grid that has not taken a time in qualifying, and outside him, the 75 of Tim Terry.
Martin Landry, Carson Aub, and Balman Gallant finishing out this field tonight. 23 drivers will take the call when we go to Green Flag Racing in just a moment. Pace car will take them around at least one more time. Tonight's race brought to you by McKinnon's Garage. Find out more about them. Contact Mr. Lauren McKinnon himself. McKinnon's Garage bringing you tonight's race. Do you know where this McKinnon's Garage is, Evan?
We had an interesting discussion about that. It's somewhere in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I think on Mirl Road, somewhere around there.
Mirror Road, that's what it is. Mirror Road.
It's close enough.
Sydney, Nova Scotia. If you know where it is, more power to you. Go see him for all your automotive needs.
And forward to that.
Pace car going to make the hard turn down pit road. It is now in the capable hands of the 48. He wastes no time. 125 laps starts right now. Jake Goodwin gets the big jump. Caution already out on the field. No, we're going to continue racing. Erroneous caution, if you will. Jake Goodwin still up front. Battle now for third in the 98 and 27.
The 97 Rod McKay points leader catching a wall in 1 of 2 after contact in the middle of the pack. He's going to try to hang on to that machine and continue to work his way forward. Meanwhile, side by side, the 34 of Mike Rhino get around the 98 of Matthews. Matthews hard on the brakes going into 1 to get himself back in line so he does not get trapped on the bottom. As you see these guys working their way through the corner, running up top on that racetrack, pretty much in the middle groove. So the 98 of Matthews is going to drop back to P5, so move Mike Rhino in the 34 machine up into that top 4 position as they start to single file out pretty quickly. Back here, a little bit of a battle between the 61 of Ricky Arbeau and the number 1, I can't talk right now.
The 11 machine
of Big Greenwood double 1 machine, getting passed by the 61 of Arbeau as Tim Terry working on that inside going into 3.
Hollywood Tim Terry gives the position to Ricky Arbeau. Hopefully we won't see him break out in the steel chair tonight like we saw him rust out a couple times last week. Score Hollywood Terry in position number 18 so far in this race. Meanwhile, rest of the field, single file. The number 98 machine of Steve Matthews now trying to hold off Keith Mack. The 98 wiggles, opens the door for the 22. It's a drag race now into turns number 1 and 2. Highline has the advantage so far. 22 can't hold on, but can he make the pass nonetheless? He's going to drag race him down the backstretch into 3 and 4. The 22 of Keith Mack still trying to get in there. He's outside. The 98 outside of him as it looks like we got some smoke. The 48 machine in trouble.
Down on that inside lane, Jake Goodwin is in the grass going into turn number 1 after winning last week's race and having a good starting position. Is now slow on the bottom of the racetrack, having trouble, and it looks like the 15 machine of Mike Alexander making contact with his left rear coming out of turn 4, and Jake Goodwin's car does not look like it is sitting right now 100% as he's going to drop all the way to the tail end of the lead lap after starting up there on the pole position.
Jake Goodwin's car in the 48 machine looking like something is very wrong with it. He is running as slow and low right now. He is well outside the racing groove. He is well outside racing speed. It might just take him a couple laps to get back to a racing condition. We'll keep an eye on that 48 as he gets passed by the 33 of Doug Ubley. Big speed gap right now at the line. Ubley going about 109. Goodwin only going about 105. So something very wrong with that 48 machine. That might bring him out early in the race. Tim Terry in the 75 machine getting around the 6 of Nathan Doherty, but not without using the wall to his advantage. Bounces off the wall, almost gets sideways off of turns 3 and 4, and Tim Terry now in position number 15. We might see him break out the steel share yet.
And that's not what you wanted to see when you're at the 48 at Goodwin. Just about to compliment him on how good he's done these last few races. You mentioned somewhere in the range of 3 straight poles, winning last week. Challenging up there in the championship standings for sure. Coming in second behind Ronnie McKay by about 14 points. And definitely not what he wanted to see. Keeping an eye on him. He's dropped to the rear end of the pack and is going to try to figure out what's wrong with that race car. But he wants to see a caution so he can try to get any repairs possible done to that machine so he can end up at least competitive and who knows, maybe possibly try to salvage for a top 10, top 5. We've seen stranger things happen out here at the short track. So his night definitely not over, but not looking good for that 48 early in the going.
10 clean laps completed so far. Now currently scoring lap 11. Mike Alexander still out front. Meanwhile, in the middle of the group, Carter Wilson, the 27 in second. Mike Rhino charging in third. Keith Mack in fourth. And rounding out the top 5 is Mackenzie Brewer in the 45 machine. The guys top of the points pinnacle right now, not having a great start to the race. Ronnie McKay in the 97 machine is back stuck in 11th. Jake Goodwin, we've talked about him, is now the 22 machine. That's Keith Mack. He's going to make the move on the 27 to Carter Wilson. This time by score him in position number 3. Keith Mack now trying to flex his muscle. He's got a lot of opportunity right now. With the top 2 guys in points not having great runs to start this evening, he could have a great opportunity to pick up some points and put himself in podium position.
And definitely entering tonight third in the championship standings, but 4 points ahead of the 4th place car, Carter Wilson. You got a little bit of ground to make up on Goodwin and McKay up front, but he mentioned they're both of them having trouble early, so the 22 machine of Keith Mack, who's also fast here, race in and race out, can definitely capitalize on this opportunity, but it's too early to call anything out. Still in excess of 110 laps to go. Got a green flag run going here, not really what we were anticipating based on what we heard from the race earlier on Monday night, but these guys doing pretty good. We've seen some contact, however, that's had to be said. The 97, again, Ronald McKay, is actually made up about 2 spots from where he started, but that's not before he caught the wall in 1 and 2 coming off of that green flag. So he's going to try to work his way back up to the field, and then obviously we well documented trouble with the 48 of Jake Goodwin. These guys running lap times at about 20 seconds. Goodwin 18 seconds behind the leader, and is pretty much going to lose his lap here soon.
Battle now for position number 10 is Mark Williams in the 24 machine trying to hold off Travis Roma for position number 9. And now here comes the 97 of Ronnie McKay trying to make some moves in that group as well. But don't look back. There's a 61 of Ricky Arbeau. The 97 makes contact with the 38. 38 goes around. 38 gets in front of Ricky Arbeau. Arbeau saves it. The 38 pointed in the wrong direction. That will bring out your first caution flag of the evening, as I believe that was an electrical issue that caused the 38 and 97 to make contact.
Yeah, the 97 really threw it in there, and I didn't think that the 38 was going to see him there, but then the 38 of Roma blinked out with some electrical issues in his sim, popped back in, and went right around. And good news for Jake Goodwin, he stays on the lead lap, and his number 48 just staying in front of the leader. So you take a look at the replay right there of that incident. So the 48 is going to catch a break from all of that, but nonetheless under our first caution of the race right now as the leaders are down pit road.
38 and 97. Laura's working on the replay right now, and it was exactly as we called it. Electrical issue with the 38 causing him to temporarily disconnect, and when he came back, he was literally sitting on the front fender of the 97 machine of Ronnie McKay. This is one of those really strange racing deals that can only happen in the wild world of sim racing. But Travis Roma now down on pit road, and with everybody else on pit road as well. It's just one of those. It is a racing deal that is completely and totally unique to the world of sim racing. People coming down pit road now, all looking for service. 4 tires, full tank of fuel for these guys as they get back on track here and start getting them worked up around one more time. It looks like it's going to be John Gahan sitting out in the 66, and the 88 of Kevin Savory also electing not to come down pit road. Not sure if Ronnie McKay or Ricky Arbeau elected to come down that time by. I also believe Chuck Morehouse, Doug Ubley also have elected to stay out so far. Mike Rhino, the first one in and the first one off of pit road.
Definitely. Oh, everybody up there at the top of that pack has not come down pit lane. Took a look to see if they came down, maybe did a 2-tire stop or something. But they've all stayed out about 18 laps into this run under the green flag until that caution flag flew. Going to be interesting to see what the differential is on the tires and see really how much those tires wore off. Taking a look at their lap time, not a lot different than their hot laps in qualifying. So I think this might be a smart move by these guys up front to throw the strategy card into it, get up to the front of the pack, and try to stay out of trouble. As now again that 66 of John Gahan is going to lead us to the green flag with the 88 of Kevin Savory up top. Lights off on a pace car. We're going to go green.
It'll be a battle of the haves and have-nots when we go back to green flag racing. Pace car is off. John Gahan gets the big jump. He will make the move, and he will lead lap number 22. Of 23, 21, I should say, now scoring lap 22. John Gahan, now 3 wide in the middle of the turn with around the 15, the 10, the 34, all 3 wide going through turns 1 and 2. They find a way to get through and save it, but still scary driving around the 27, 34, 2 by 2, going through 3 and 4, the 22 almost getting sideways. He's able to save it. Keith Mack able to save it. Now the battles between the 15 and the 33 for position. More 3 wide driving behind him.
It was the 15-33 going to go side by side into turn number 3. The 15 Alexander all the way to the bottom, slides back up in front of the 33, completes that pass. And now the 27 of Carter Wilson going to make his move on the inside of Doug Ubley there, going into 1, going to try to make that work. He does as well, and now here comes the 45 of Mackenzie Brewer. So the 33 machine of Doug Ubley on that top lane needs to get down and protect that spot because he has more company here going into turn number 3. Can the 45 get it done like everybody else? Not quite. They're going to make contact off turn number 4. I'm sure the 33 of Bugley does not appreciate that as the 45 now completes the pass. And now here comes Keith Mack on the inside lane as well.
Inside line now starting to show a little bit of its metal. Here comes the 34 of Mike Rhino, charging like an angry rhino through this field. Almost makes it 3 wide. Will he make it 3 wide? He's going to jam into the turn. Yes, he will, right on the bumper of the 22. Helps the 22 get around. Now 34, 33 make contact. 34, 33 into the wall. Heavy damage on the 34 machine. That will bring out the caution flag for the second time tonight. Heavy damage at 34, and I'm not sure the 34 was trying to get in, force the issue, or if the 33 was sending a message.
Going to take a look at the steering wheels and take a look at this from overhead, but it looks like it was the 33 machine of Doug Ubley that definitely turned into that left side of the 34 of Rhino. Nothing intentional looking like from the onboard, but it was definitely the 33 machine that initiated the contact. 34 went around into the outside wall. 33 got some damage. Everybody else scatters. Tim Terry's trying to get around that. The 98, Stephen Matthews, trying to avoid it as well. And that's the beating and banging that we come to expect at a short track like the Thompson International Speedway. And we're under our second caution of the night.
Heavy hit from Mike Rhino, currently sitting 6 points. He was looking to make a big run on your leaders out there, but now Rhino's going to have to contend with some heavy front-end damage and a little bit of damage as well as a result of that front-end damage. Could affect his steering and handling on that machine, kind of like we saw Jake Goodwin earlier. Horrible damage for the 38. Actually, he's going to go ahead and, the 34 of Rhino, he's going to go ahead and pull it behind the garage. He is done. Rhino out for the night as a result of that incident.
Not what he wanted to see at all, coming into tonight with a decent point standings in a 6th spot. Again, another one of those drivers that is fast, has just been looking for that first win on the season. About 7-8 races into this thing, is yet to pick it up, and he's not going to get it tonight from no fault of his own doing. And a tough break for him and that team, obviously, with a strong car tonight. He's behind the wall, and that means that he is not going to get the victory tonight. Taking a look at everybody else, those guys up at the top of the field really didn't have a big challenge from everybody else that came down the pit lane under the first caution. So looking like that no tire and no pit stop strategy is working out pretty good for them to get the track position. However, you got to think of when it swings the other way and they got to come down. Do those other guys stay out, or do they all put at the same time and their strategy comes full circle and does good for them? We're going to find out as the race continues on. Currently pacing on lap number 30 of 125 at the Thompson International Speedway.
Tonight's race coverage brought to you by McKinnon's Garage in Mirl Road, on Mirl Road in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Need some work done? Contact Lauren McKinnon. McKinnon's Garage bringing you tonight's race here at Thompson International Speedway. The McKinnon's Garage 125. Lap 30 currently on the books, not even a third of the way through yet. 2 cautions have flown so far for different racing incidents, and then you guys up front, the majority of them have not yet pitted. John Gay and Kevin Savory both have not pitted. Mike Alexander has not, as one of the drivers that did come down pit road. Mackenzie Brewer also came down pit road earlier. So now we're starting to really see the battles of the haves versus the have-nots. The cars line up. They're going to be going. They're only half a lap before they go back to green flag racing.
And definitely field continuing to pace right now. Lights still on that Ford First Racing Mustang. A pace car up at the top of the field. Everybody just trying to get sorted out in their proper positions. Before we go back to the green flag here, again, it's going to be the 66 of John Gahan at the top of the field with the 88 of Kevin Savory sitting on his outside. So it's going to be good to see how they try to decide this here. Lights are off, so we're looking for the one to go. That pace car is going to pull off somewhere going into turn number 3 down that back straightaway. And we're going to see how the 66 negotiates this restart and if they want to make it 3 wide again.
It would not surprise me to see 3 wide racing as they get ready to mix it up one more time here at Thompson Speedway for the McKinnon's Garage 125. A pace car about to make that hard turn down pit road. A very precarious angle he's got to navigate, and the restart immediately on the 66. He wastes no time. Soon as the pace car gets out of his way, he makes a jump. He's not going to let it go 3 wide. John Gagnon continues to lead. Kevin Savory and the 88 now under fire from the 15 of Mike Alexander. Mike Alexander wants position. The 88 doesn't want to give it to him. Side by side, now more contact between the 45 and the 22 machine. Carter Wilson fending off Keith Mack, and now here comes Tim Terry.
Lots of contact all the way throughout the field. The battle's on for second with the 88 of Kevin Savory on the top of the 15 of Alexander on the bottom. Alexander's going to get it. The 88 with a crossover. Kevin Savory to the bottom. Coming at a turn number 2. The 15's got the run. Can the 88 keep the nose in there? No, he can't. And now here comes the charging 27 of Carter Wilson to that top lane all the way and around the 88 of Savory. So he's going to go from P2 all the way back to P4 in one lap. You mentioned Tim Terry. He's in a battle right here with the 45 of Mackenzie Brewer on that inside lane off 2 as the 75 picks up the spot.
John Gahan continues to lead. Alexander now second. Carter Wilson third. Kevin Savory drops 2 positions to fourth. Now the 15 of Mike Alexander wants to lead a lap. Will he be able to? No dice so far. Comes to 27. The door's open for Carter Wilson. Carter Wilson picks up second with ease. So Carter Wilson now in second. Mike Alexander drops to third and still up front. That 66 machine, nobody has an answer to him just quite yet. But look who's also now back in the mix. Keith Mack now back in 5th. Ricky Arbeau moves from will stay in the 6th. He moves from 7th to 6th out there. 34 now in trouble.
Mike Rhino around again on the front straightaway, and we're going to go into our 3rd caution of the night. Same way it happened last time with the same race car, the 33, turning him around. Coming off of turn number 4, and the caution flag is going to come out again, and that looks like some deja vu.
Replay up, you see it now, the 34 and 33 making contact in almost the exact same way and the exact same place. Not sure if this is a message being sent by Doug Hubhley to Mike Rhino, or if Mike Rhino is just a victim of bad luck. Lightning striking twice for the 34 machine. He's down on pit road, trying to figure out what he can do to salvage his night, if anything.
Yeah, that was definitely very strange to see not only those two getting together again, but them getting together pretty much in the same way that they did the first time. So interesting to see how that works out. Mike Rhino apologizing over the text, trying to figure out what's going on, saying that he might have pushed up a little bit, but the 33 also looks sideways coming off the corner. Again, varying pit strategies here under the caution flag. People at the front of the field all the way through about 6 spots stay out. Then we got a handful of guys come in. Some guys from mid-pack stay out. So the fuel strategy and those tire strategy continues to vary here under this caution flag as well.
While these guys get sorted out, let's go ahead and take our first commercial break of the evening. You are watching LSRTV's live coverage of the McKinnon's Garage 125 from Thompson International Speedway, part of the Maritime iRacing League. Stay tuned, race fans. We'll be back after this.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Drivers, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 to the checkered flag. He wins his first Nascar iRacing.
Double file restart getting ready to happen here at Thompson Speedway. Less than half a lap before we're back to racing on lap 43 in the McKinnon's Garage 125, part of the Maritime iRacing League. You're watching all live here on LSRTV. Pace car out of the way. John Gann once again wasting no time, gets the big jump. He will lead lap 42 into lap 43. Carter Wilson, Mike Alexander doing battles side by side. The 27 gets the jump. Here comes the 22 of Keith Mack. The 15 stuck on the low line.
Alexander trying to make something work, can't get it done. Is going to go in line now. We're side by side. Up front is the 27 of Carter Wilson to the inside, nearly pushes up and get it into the 66 of Gahan. He's going to stay off of him for now in single file going into turn number 1. This track, very interesting, gets a lot wider in those corners than it is on the straightaway, so things get real tight coming up on corner exit. Next side by side battle, the 00 of Martin Landry. Going to battle getting around the 86 of Jeff Gilmet. Gilmet on the inside is now going to have to hold off that 24 of Mark Williams.
And now here comes the 75 of Tim Terry trying to get around the 88 of Kevin Savory. No dice this time by. In front of them is the guy who they really need to get around. That's the 97 of Ronnie McKay, your points leader, currently sitting in 7th place right now. Here comes Hollywood Terry, drives it deep into the turn, trying to get around the 88. Will he be successful? The 88 oversteers. 75 has position. Score him in position number 8. Ronnie McKay has it all in his rearview mirror. I guarantee he's going to do everything he can to try to hold off those two drivers. The 88 now trying the crossover. Can the 88 do it successfully? It's going to be tough. They're going to go side by side. One more turn to go.
Coming off of 4 door-to-door advantage of the 75 of Terry. He's going to have the top lane, therefore the run off the corner. The 88 thinking about sliding in line, can't get it done because the 00 Martin Landry's there. Now he has that lane open down the back straightaway. He's going to take it and get back in line after trying that crossover, and it didn't work. The 97 Ronnie McKay, you talked about him. He came over with the radio, said, I'm just taking it easy. Really nowhere to go up front things when they were real tight there after that restart. But we're bumper to bumper up front with the 66 of John Gahan in the lead, 27 of Wilson in second, and a hungry 22 of Keith Mack coming all the way from 7th after starting this race. He's sitting P3 right now, continuing to try to look for a way around that 27 for P2.
And now here's Ricky Arbeau in the 61 machine. He's worked his way all the way up to 5th, but he's not getting a whole lot of success making moves right now. He's just running in line with the rest of another driver that is just happy to be in the top 10 right now is Nathan Doherty in the 6 machine. He's one that has not had a whole lot of great luck throughout the season, and now he's just happy to be running in the top 10, and potentially a top 5 if someone makes a mistake up front. And hopefully he'll have a chance to show what he can do tonight here at Thompson Speedway. Meanwhile, behind him, the 97, your points leader, Ronnie McKay, fighting off Tim Terry. Hollywood Terry doing everything he can to drive that 75 machine. He's almost dirt tracking it through the turns out there. Oh, trouble up front. It's going to be a 27 involved.
The 66 of John Gahan's going to go from the lead position to the inside wall on the end of the lead lap after making contact, or rather having contact dished out to him as the 27 of Carter Wilson tried to go there on the inside 66, maybe not acknowledging he was there or just trying to hold him off and block that spot. Found himself getting turned into the inside grass, the 27 with some front end damage. And now we're under the caution flag, and the 66 of John Gahan is not happy about that incident over the radio. Rightfully so, as he's going to go from the lead position all the way back there, and now he's going to hit the pit lane under yellow.
We might just have a bare-knuckle brawl tonight in some way, shape, or form if the driving keeps happening the way it does. Let's go ahead and go back through that replay real quick. As you see the 27, he just gets the run on the turn, thinks he can overshoot the 66 coming off the turn. The 66 just closes the lane on him, and that's going to send both those cars spinning around, but none harder than the 66, as the 66 goes all the way into the infield, picks up a little bit of damage on that car, and that could end what was a strong run for John Gahan's night. Let's keep an eye on the infield as the night's race comes to a close, because we may still see a couple drivers have a good old-fashioned heated discussion, if you will, here on the infield of Thompson.
Yes, a spirited debate, I think, is the politically correct way to put that, but definitely a lot of sheet metal getting banged up, and bet some tempers will be tested as well as we cycle through pit stops here. Pretty much looking like everybody coming down the pit lane, but I do believe it is going to be Keith Mack leading them off. Actually, I see Tim Terry up there going into 3, so everybody's still cycling through. We're going to get the scoring update and let you know where everybody is. But they're going to get their 4 tires fueled. They're all ready to go, and we'll be looking for the green flag here shortly after, I believe, our 3rd or 4th caution so far tonight.
Meanwhile, back up front, currently being scored in the first position is going to be Jake Goodwin, who finally has found a way to get his 48 machine after that big incident. He's going to currently be scored at the top of this field. Tim Terry might be second. I'm not sure if he's trying to figure out where he's supposed to be, but right now he's lined up second. Stephen Matthews in the 22 of Keith Mack in 3rd. Carter Wilson may not hold on to 4th much longer, as I believe he's got a restart at the tail end of this field.
Yeah, everybody trying to discuss and see what they're going to do, just trying to get things sorted out, make sure everybody ends up in their proper position before we go back to the green flag. It looks like they're getting things sorted out. Actually, there you go. The lights are going to go back on that Ford First Racing Mustang pace car at the front of the field, as race official are going to throw the caution flag one more time to make sure that everything gets sorted out. Some drivers trying to deal and try to figure out what their deal is with the black flags and whatnot, including our former race leader, the 66 of John Gahan, trying to get things figured out, as now again he finds himself going from P1 all the way back to 20th spot after slightest contact with the 27 of Wilson. And it seems like the way it always works is that guy that initiates the contact is going to stay up there, and you're going to get the short end of the stick for sure.
It looks like John Gahan may have a caution, or may have a black flag for failing to line up in the correct spot as the sim positioned him. So now he's going to have to serve a penalty, a little bit of insult on top of the injury he's already faced tonight. So as these guys get sorted out, let's go ahead and take you through your restarting lineup here on lap 56. It'll be lap 57. We're back to green flag racing. Jake Goodwin, Tim Terry on the lead lap. Pace car out of the way. They're going to give way. It'll be Jake Goodwin leading lap 56, the 22 of Keith Mack, Carter Wilson 3rd, 4th, and now it comes Mike Alexander. He wants to move back in a big way. Check that. Jake Goodwin's going to go on the inside, give position up all the way back, and your new leader, Hollywood Tim Terry.
The 48 car is not all there. He's trying to get out of the way. He's holding up the 15. He's going to get a punt, and now damage on the front end of the 15 of Mike Alexander as he got caught behind the 48. Alexander's going to lose a couple spots. The 48 of Jake Goodwin found his way up to the front, but just had nothing for it. And 15 of Alexander's going to go all the way from the top 5 all the way to the back as he gets the short end of the straw. And he's going to give the 48 a couple of buns going in the 3, the 15, showing his displeasure, but they're going to wreck in front of him.
Big trouble in front of him, involving the 27 machine. That's Carter Wilson. Also involved I can't see the number on that other machine. Another machine involved as well. The 61 machine of Ricky Arbeau, once again involved in incident. That'll bring out the caution flag. And guys, if they didn't bring out the caution flag, I was really afraid the 48 and 15 would have done it.
They were going to bring it out soon here if this didn't happen. Looks like Tim Terry found himself too fast on that top lane, going to get into the wall as he was being challenged by the 22 of Keith Mack. So Tim got on the brakes, 27 got on the brakes, and Arbeau pretty much ran him over. And the 15 and the 48 are playing games with each other under this caution flag. Understandably so, the 15 of Mike Alexander is not happy after we saw the 48 car of Jake Goodwin get back up to the front of the field after getting damage earlier. Clearly, his car not running at 100% and pretty much held that 15 all the way up and brought him all the way to the back and gave him some front-end damage that I do believe that Mike Alexander pretty much thinks that was not necessary.
We'll get the replay up for you in just a moment. What a crazy race we've seen here so far, though, tonight. We've had a litany of caution flags that we knew we'd see here at Thompson Speedway, and we've seen a lot of dramas play on and off across the track between the 48 car, the 48 and the 15 car, the 34 and the 33, both having trouble out there on the track. And then these are guys we haven't talked about a whole lot who are now finding their way in the top 10 tonight. Mackenzie Brewer in the 45 machine, he's fourth. Martin Landry in the 00 found his way to fifth. Todd Cousins in the 05 machine, he's found his way to seventh. And Nathan Doherty in the 6 machine, Jeff Gilman, both having great top 10 runs so far here tonight. As the field starts to thin out, this could very easily play to their advantage.
And you got to keep in mind, several drivers having bad luck. Again, the 66 of John Gahan going from P1. He's sitting a lap down right now at 18th. The 33 of Doug Ubley down on the pit lane. He is 2 laps down in 19th. Carter Wilson in the 27. That car's behind the wall. The 18 of Chuck Morehouse, 6 laps down. That's behind the wall. Mike Rhino still riding this thing out. Dead last place, 22nd, 31 laps down. He might be able to pick up 2 spots here, depending on how many laps he can pick up. He's got to get about 25 on them, and there's well more than that left in this race. So, I mean, Mike Rhino's going to stick with it in that number 34 machine, try to get what he can. Lights still on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. Going to take a look at 1 to go, possibly this time by the start-finish line.
1 to go, maybe another one if they bring out the flag one more time. And then there's the 75 machine of Tim Terry that we've talked a lot about. He's making a big run right now, currently scored in second, telling me earlier in the week. They've nicknamed this particular chassis Betty. So Betty bringing a little bit of luck for Tim Terry tonight.
And definitely he's got his familiar colors on the race car, changed it up a little bit week to week and whatnot. Talking before the race, he said he'd be lucky if we get a top 10. So 75 is overdoing it, I guess, up front, but he's definitely sitting in that second spot right now and looking to hold off that 22 of Keith Mack maybe here going into one as we're looking for the green flag not too long here as the pace cars down pit road and we're looking for it. Tim Terry on the outside lane tries to anticipate it, but Keith Mack just taking off, and now the 97 of Ronald McKay is on the inside of Terry going into one.
Still running hard through 1 and 2. 97.45 now making a little bit of contact out there. The 00 and 88 now go around. The 00 around in turn at the end of turn number 2. 00 by himself after making contact. Pace car not off yet. 00 self-spin. I think he took only himself out there. Yes, he did. The 00 made contact with the 88. He's the only car, though, involved. So we continue green flag racing.
He came all the way up off of turn number 2 and smacked the right rear of that 88 machine and turned it around, and that's what's going to put us under the caution flag here. The pace car out, and you're already going to slow him down again. I'd keep an eye on that 48 of Jake Goodwin and the 15 of Mike Alexander. They're still running together on the racetrack and probably won't give each other as much room as some would expect.
Jake Goodwin's going to take no chances and come down pit road once again to see what else they can do for that 48 machine to try to keep it competitive tonight. And I think he's also trying to break up the position that he was in with Mike Alexander in the 15 machine. So I think there's a little bit of strategy behind that, a little more than just what may be playing on the track.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody trying to get things figured out. John Gahan's going to get the wave around, so the 66 machine going to go around the field on the top side here under the yellow flag. He's going to get his lap back, and he still has a long way to go if he wants to get back up to where he was running in that top position. Tim Terry tried to anticipate that restart with the 22 of Keith Mack. Keith Mack held up just a little bit and took off, and luckily for Tim, he was able to hang on to second as the caution flag came out before either Ronnie McKay or Mackenzie Brewer could get something done on that restart. So we're going to line them up, and we're going to go for it again here at Thompson International Speedway. The fenders are going to start to be used a lot more as the laps wind down.
The penalties are going to mount. The fenders will mount. Everything that can be used as for an advantage out here, I've got a feeling will be used. Pace car lights should turn off this time by. We should be one to go forward back to green flag racing. Keith Mack, Tim Terry on the front row. Pace car lights stay on. When we go back to green flag racing, it'll be Keith Mack, Tim Terry on the front row, Mackenzie Brewer, Ronnie McKay, row number 2, Kevin Savory, Mark Williams behind them, Todd Cousins, Jeff Gilman the 4th row, and Nathan Doherty and Travis Roma, who were involved in an incident earlier. They will round out the top 10. Carson Alb will start 11th. John Gahan, who was your leader for quite a few laps, will restart in the 12th place position. Stephen Matthews, 13th. Jake Goodwin, 14th. Mike Alexander, 16th. So those two cars still pretty close to each other, and I'm sure we're not done watching the sparks fly between them.
Oh yeah, definitely. Some cars at the tail end of the lead lap still coming out of the pit lane, finishing up their repairs, their new tires, and filling them up with fuel. Keep in mind, currently working as the lights are off on the Ford First Racing Mustang pace car. Lap 70 of 125, so on the downhill side of things at the Thompson International Speedway here as we continue to work under the caution flag. We're going to see what goes on here, and it should be a fun restart, to say the least, Joe.
Fun restart. Watch for rivalries all around the track. Get ready for some big time racing. Pace car is in. Green flag flies, and it's going to be the 22 on the inside once again, getting the big jump. Keith Mack once again in first. Tim Terry in second, and here comes Mackenzie Brewer. Trouble now. The 00 machine once again in trouble. Check, that's going to be the 96 machine, or 86 of Jeff Gilman. Goes sideways, going through the turn.
And definitely they continue to go at it on the radio up front. Mackenzie Brewer has been given a warning by the 97 of Ronald McKay. Those guys 3rd and 4th. That should amount to something here. Side by side back in the pack with the 11 of Vic Greenwood on the inside lane. As the 15 of Mike Alexander, they're going to go around him. The 34 machine of Rhino is going to go around, but more importantly, 61 of Arbo, who is actually on the lead lap, going to get around him as well. So the 11 machine of Vic Greenwood having trouble holding up to the speed of everybody else there on that inside lane.
75 almost overdrove it off of turns 3 and 4. Opens the door for the 45. Mackenzie Brewer now side by side with the Swan Racing 75. They're going to drive it hard into 3 and 4. The 45 makes contact with the 75. Ronnie McKay comes around for the ride. Tim Terry drops 2, make that 3 positions as the 88 gets dispatches them with ease.
And definitely that's going to make the 22 P1 and put the 45 in the 97 position, 2nd and 3rd. Terry trying to hold off the 88 machine of Kevin Savory going into turn number 3 and 4. Tim Terry up the track, going to try to get that run coming off before. He will hang on and defend that position. So Terry going to sit back into that 4th position as everybody continues to try to work themselves out. Terry trying to not overdrive into 1 and 2 is going to open up the door for the 88. Sideways off the corner, but he continues to hang on the 4th for the time being.
Kevin Savory in, holding on to position number 5, but not by a whole lot. He will let the 75 out of his sights for now. Now here comes the 24 machine on his back bumper. That 24 machine belonging to Mark Williams. He's another driver who's had some consistent finishes tonight, but all the season long, but wants to make it a top 5 tonight as he tries to get around the 88 of Kevin Savory. No se bueno, as Kevin Savory continues to try to hold it in 5th.
They've been trying to hang on to that spot a lot closer, battling here back in the pack. The 98 car of Stephen Matthews going to get around the damage. Number 15 of Mike Alexander through 1 and 2. So 98 of Matthews back up into 11th spot. He kind of blinked going in through 1 and 2, and the 98 had to make some measures to avoid him. Ended up losing the spot to that 15 machine behind him, getting it back quickly. So the 38 of Travis Roma still experiencing some minor electrical problems as he sits in the 10th spot.
75 and 88 side by side once again for position number 4. The 88 has the advantage. Here comes the 75. 75 makes contact with the outside wall. The 75 running out of talent in a hurry, so he will lose position number 4. Now he's going to make contact with the wall again. Hollywood Tim Terry making contact with the 05. Now causes 06 to go around. 05 around. The several cars down in the grass. Yellow flag is out. Todd Cousins involved. Nathan Doherty involved. Travis Roma involved. All 3 cars, as a result of the 75 making contact with the outside wall through 1 and 2.
I mentioned that under the caution, that track really thins up coming out of the corner of the 05 machine, getting caught up behind Terry. That's Todd Cousins having to check up. The 6 and the 38 came flying on by and just made a little bit of contact. The 6 around the 05 getting door slammed. The 38 machine spinning around in the grass as well. And going to put us under another caution flag. Tough break for the 75 of Terry, who was looking good on that front row, obviously getting to the wall and upsetting that race car and getting some damage. He's currently being shown in the 4th spot at the moment. I do believe that scoring is going to update, however, as he lost a couple spots there through turns number 1 and 2.
More cars down on pit road, half of the field going to the attention of their crews, trying to figure out something to get them through the next third of this race, including Keith Mack, your leader. He's going to get 4 tires fuel, and he will be back down and away. He will relinquish the lead, but I've got a feeling he's not done competing for it. Currently scoring lap 81 here in the McKenzie Garage, 125 at Thompson International Speedway, part of the Maritime iRacing League. Let's go ahead and step away for just a moment and bring you the conclusion of tonight's race live on LSRTV. Back on the track here at Thompson International Speedway. Tonight's race has not disappointed us at all, Evan Pisocco. Tonight's race has been a lot of fun to watch, and I've got a feeling that there's going to be a whole lot of more sparks flying as we get ready to close down the race here at Thompson International Speedway. It's a McKinnon's Garage 125 presented by the Maritime iRacing League here at Thompson International Speedway. They are double filing up this time by. We should go back to green flag racing in just 1 lap. Jeff Gilman now being scored as your leader. John Gahan back on the front row. Mackenzie Brewer, Mike Alexander behind them. Keith Mack, Ronnie McKay, 5th and 6th. Kevin Savory, Carson Aub, 8th or 7th and 8th. Ricky Arbeau and Vic Greenwood round out your top 10.
Remember checking them out on Mirl Road, Sydney, Nova Scotia. I still don't know where that is, but if you figured it out, as Joe said, more power to you. Pace car down pit road, and we're looking for the green flag. The 86 of Jeff Gilman's going to wait all the way to the front straightaway. Still does not get a fast start. This is going to check up the whole field, the 66 to 97, and it's going to cycle all the way through the field as they scatter going into turn number 1. The 34 of Rhino around. Major incident in 1 and 2.
All starts around the 98 after that big checkup, and now more cars involved going into 1 and 2. The 05, the 34, the 6, the 48. So many cars just destroyed as a result of that. And now, 1 lap later, the caution flag will come out due to the 98 machine of Stephen Matthews limping around the inside. That car is crab walking around the track. Stephen Matthews in the 98 machine, his night is for all intents and purposes done.
And I'm not sure what was going on at the front of the field, because race leader Jeff Gilmet, we normally see the leader go coming out of 4, almost in the corner. Now, to be fair, the leader does have to choose from when the pace car goes down pit road till the green flag flies, but the green flag flew and he never really got going. and that caused the 66 of John Gahan on the top. Remember, he can't beat him to the flag or he'll be black flagged. Had to get on the brakes. Everybody else got on the brakes all the way through the field. A little bit of net code, one car in the infield, and they just piled them in there. And again, they didn't throw the caution until a lap after that. I don't know if we have the NASCAR officials joining us over for this race, but there were about 4 cars there just torn up, limping down that back straightaway. And if those leaders started to come through there with the caution flag not out, it would have been interesting to see what would have happened.
Well, it's almost reminiscent of an incident that we saw in the actual NASCAR season when Juan Pablo Montoya was hesitant to start the race himself. So a little bit of NASCAR being channeled here tonight at Thompson Speedway. Pace car out once again. We're currently scoring lap 88. It's John Gahan in front, Mike Alexander second, Ronnie McKay third, Mackenzie Brewer fourth, and Keith Mack rounding out your top 5. Lots of crazy driving so far tonight. Lots of fun driving out here, and I think this is going to be a race that all these guys are going to be talking about for quite a while yet.
And you have to keep in mind, race car drivers do not forget. So if you feel like you were wrong, somebody is in the wrongdoing to you in tonight's race, if they don't get you back by the end of it, you can sure pretty much guarantee it might carry over to the next week. And we know that the MIRL officials, they take a look at these races, and if they find that they see something that they don't like, anything intentional, they're not going to hesitate to park you and keep you in the pits for a week or two. We've seen that with several drivers so far this season. So you got to play it smart, but that's hard when the emotion and the tempers of short track racing build up in the moment.
Short track racers have an incredible memory, a bigger memory than I've ever seen of anyone in the history of memories. So it wouldn't surprise me if we have some spillover as a result of tonight's race, and I'm sure we're going to see some penalties. That Little Red Hauler going to be a very, very busy place tonight. John Gahan kind of taunting the field right now, telling this crew, make sure they keep wrecking behind me, because he can win this race very easily, if nothing else, by the law of attrition.
And definitely, we talked about trying to make your way through the field, keep your bumpers clean, and keep that sheet metal looking nice and pretty. I don't know if anybody's really been able to do that. The 66 of John Gahan, he's back up front. Keep in mind, about 10, 20 laps ago, he got spun, was a lap down, and now he's sitting P1 in that 66 machine. So anything's still possible here at the Thompson International Speedway. Currently working lap 91 of 125. So not a lot of laps left, and still a lot of good racing to go here.
Still plenty of racing to go. They are double filed through the field right now. They're going to restart next time around. John Gahan, Mike Alexander up front, Ronnie McKay, Mackenzie Brewer behind them, Keith Mack, Jeff Gilman, Kevin Savory, Ricky Arbeau, Tim Terry, Vic Greenwood, your top 10. Pace car gets stuck out of the way. He wants nothing to do with it. 15 bumps the 66 to start this restart once again, but it'll be the 66 that leads the lap. The 15 is not in a sporting mood. He's going to drive around the 66 with ease. Mike Alexander back up to the lead.
They can try to work it out behind them. The 88 of Kevin Savory going to go 3 wide. He's going to lose a couple spots as they sort things out up front. The 15 machine of Mike Alexander getting in the way as he is being held up by the 48 car. The 48 is in his way. The caution's going to fly as they wreck behind them, and they're going to continue to wreck at the front of the field as the 15 in the wall. We know the 15 and the 48 have a little bit of a history, and the 48 car is going to get in the way of race leader and put them into the wall. So Jake Goodwin, lap down car, going to hold up the leader and put him in the wall as they wreck behind them. It's heating up for sure.
It is definitely heating up for sure. Jake Goodwin, we were just talking about memories a moment ago. Jake Goodwin has a deep memory, and you see it right there. The incident behind them actually brought out the yellow flag, started around the 88, who was having a lot of trouble navigating through this field. He self-spun coming off of turns 3 and 4, and that's going to bring out the caution flag. But that 15 and 48, I don't think we're done with those two. These guys are going to have a long memory about this race, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see them continue to do battle in some way, shape, or form.
And it all started again with the 48 of Goodwin getting into damage. We saw him stay out, go up the front of the field, and he held the 15 up. The 15 has front end damage from that. We got to take a look. And I mean, the 48 of Jake Goodwin is 3 laps down, and he was holding up the race leader. I'm surprised that the 15 of Mike Alexander has not given him a 1-ticket ride into the wall yet.
It wouldn't surprise me if one of those two drivers ends up in the wall as a result of some way, shape, or form of incidents. Good news for Mike Alexander, though. He is still being scored as your leader. John Gahan second, Ronnie McKay, your points leader third, Mackenzie Brewer fourth, and Keith Mack rounding out your top 5 tonight. Currently scoring lap 96, 20 laps to go in this show, and Mike Alexander, after all the banging and damage he's been through tonight, he could walk away with the win, but he's got a lot of stiff competition behind him. Ronnie McKay's behind him, Mackenzie Brewer, Keith Mack, Ricky Arbeau, Tim Terry, Kevin Savory, all still within striking distance. And then there's Vic Greenwood in the number 11 machine. He, after having some tough weeks, he's now running in the top 10 tonight, which is arguably his best run so far in this Maritime iRacing League Series.
Yeah, I keep taking a look at this replay. The 48, a good one, coming off of a pit road, gets in the way of the 15. 15 has to avoid him. That's how the 66 of John Gahan goes to the inside, and the 48 finishes the job, puts the 15 the rest of the way into the outside wall. And John Gahan got around him. However, the way the caution flag flew, Alexander in the 15 is going to go back to the lead position because he had the lead at the last scoring stripe. However, I don't know about that move when you're several laps down, getting in the way of the leaders. Lights are still on the pace car. The 48, or not the 48, the 15 of Mike Alexander on the front row with the 66 of John Gahan. And lap 97, we're approaching 25 to go, and I think we've seen a pretty interesting race so far, Joe, to say the least.
And apparently my microphone was unplugged for that.
I was gonna say, I don't think that's coming over the right channel there. We're good though. We'll work with it.
We really gotta work with these
It's those interns.
on proper
That's what it is.
On proper booth behavior. Pace cars in. Let's go back to green flag racing. Mike Alexander up front. It's going to be the number 97 immediately behind him, and the 66 battling for position on the outside. Tim Terry working on the outside, trying to make that move. He's going to stay in this position.
The 97 points leader, Ron McKay, getting in the way of the 45 machine down the back straightaway. Mackenzie Brewer into the back of him. We know that they have a lot of history so far. Tim Terry is going to come down to the pit lane, down the back straightaway. 88 car is going to go around with no caution flag yet as he's down in the grass. He's going to pull up on the track. They're not going to throw it quite yet, but keep an eye on the 97 and the 45, who have exchanged words all night long. They're running positions number 3 and 4 right now on the racetrack.
The 15 of Mike Alexander continuing to lead. John Gahan second, Ronnie McKay, Mackenzie Brewer, Ricky Arbeau, your top 5. And the number 45 now starting to get it sideways a little bit, starting to dig through those turns. He's going to start burning up tires as they continue to run now. 25 laps left to go in tonight's feature. The 97-45 still at it. And here comes Ricky Arbeau. He might find a way to get up front here and start digging to get some position.
And definitely everybody trying to run single file right now. Only about 12 cars, actually 11 now that Tim Terry enters the pit lane, left on the lead lap. Everybody else, you can see him driving around there with some banged up sheet metal. It's been that kind of race here at the short track tonight. Side by side with some lap down cars racing at it. The 24 machine of Mark Williams trying to hold off the 38 of Travis Roma. Travis Roma going to go around him. Other than that, single file for now, but they're bumper to bumper and ready to get something going.
Ricky Arbeau still in the 5th position in the 61 machine. He's got to wait his turn to try to get around the 45 and 97 behind him. The guy who was leading some of this race, Keith Mack in the 22. He's also in a position where he needs to try to get around in a hurry. Time is running out for each of those machines, and at this juncture, the race is going to be decided between the top 6 drivers, I believe, though they all have to try to figure out how to get around the 15 of Mike Alexander continuing to lead this race. Battle now for third as a 97 almost gets into the 45. 61 instead will get around him. Score the 61 now in position number 4.
And the 45, Mackenzie Brewer all the way back now, trying to hang on to one spot as he tries to hang off the 22 of Keith Mack. Mack on that outside lane this time, going into turn number 3. Going to try to get to the gas a little bit earlier, and will get that spot, so move the 45 of Mackenzie Brewer all the way back to P6 after sitting P4 after he tried to make a move on the 97, and Ronald McKay just could not hang on to it. Speak about Ronald McKay, because the 61 of Ricky Arbeau is about a half a car length off of his back bumper and looking to pounce and pick up another spot here. Meanwhile, the 15 of Mike Alexander up front, 7/10 of a second lead over the second place car, and is trying to run away with this thing.
Meanwhile, Tim Terry, who had to come down for a unscheduled pit stop, is about to go one lap down in position number 12. Breathing down his neck soon will be Mike Alexander in the 15, and the whole litany of drivers behind him. The 66 of John Gahan holding up second, Ronnie McKay third, Ricky Arbo fourth, Keith Mack now in fifth, Mackenzie Brewer just outside the top five, not able to make the run right now. Single file throughout the field as they continue racing here on the track. While we have a moment, I want to say hi to two of our longtime viewers here on LSRTV, two very special viewers to us. RTV. And LSRTV, once again, our darn interns keep on plugging my microphone when I try to get this greeting out. Wanda and Kelly, special greetings to you. Thank you for being longtime viewers of us here at the Maritime iRacing League and LSRTV.
And definitely things starting to wind down. Race leader, the 15 of Mike Alexander, sees a side-by-side battle in front of him as we are inside of 16 laps to go right now as he needs to negotiate his way around the 88 of Kevin Savory and the 75 of Tim Terry. Those are the last two cars on the lead lap, running positions 10 and 11. The 15 machine going to try to get that done on the inside lane. This could allow that three-car train of position second through fourth to try to catch them, led by that 66 of John Gahan, as they start to close in as Alexander tries to negotiate his way around and now does get around the 88 of Savory.
88 now immediately on the back bumper of the 15. He wants to make the crossover work. Not going to happen. Mike Alexander just too strong out there. Meanwhile, behind him, the 66 of John Gahan now in second. And here comes Ricky Arbo, finds his way up to third as time starts to run out on this field. Less than 15 to go. This time by 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. The 66 gets out unscathed. The 61 now on the low line. He has to get around the 88 in a hurry if he wants to keep his momentum going. The 22 immediately on his back bumper. Ronnie McKay still in the hunt as well. The 88 nowhere to go. He's going to stay in the way. He's got to go high. Let these drivers get around him and get around him in a hurry. Ricky Arbo still in third, but he is hunting. He wants second.
The 45 and the 97 continue to go at it. That's Mackenzie Brewer and Ronald McKay. They're going at it on the radio. That's not a news story from tonight's race so far. They're battling for fifth as they work their way around that 88 machine, but all eyes need to be up front because it's a 7/10 of a second lead still for the 15 of Alexander. If a caution flag does not fly soon, it may be his race to win. Meanwhile, battle continues for second between the 66 of John Gahan and the 61 of Ricky Arbo, with Keith Mack trailing in tow. That's all going for second place right now, but it's Mike Alexander in the 15. Even with that front end damage, even with all that's going on tonight for him and his race team, is currently sitting P1 and looking for that checkered flag here soon.
Podium position being decided as the 22 noses under the 61 machine. The 22 of Mack trying to figure out what he's going to do. The 61 now in the wall, opens the door for the 97 and 45. 97 cuts off the nose of the 45. 45 not happy as Arbo in the 61 machine continues to fight for podium position. He's got the stronger car. He pulls in front of Keith Mack in the 22. Nothing changes. We are back to the way we were. 10 laps to go.
Ricky Arbo believing that he may be held up by that 66 of John Gahan. They're trying to get things sorted out here, continuing to cycle through. Now the 22 of Max going to look to the inside of the 61. Can't quite get the nose in there just yet. They continue to battle all the way throughout the top five here. But while all this happens, Mike Alexander opening up his lead now to about 1.2 seconds. The 66 of John Gahan trying to protect that position in that second spot right now. 22 of Keith Mack up the hill. Now the 97 of Ronald McKay is going to go around him on the inside lane and pick up one more spot here out of two.
Looks like the number 97 just smoked those tires coming out of the turn. And the 97, 66 making contact. 66 gets in the 48. 48 nowhere to go. That might bring out another caution flag. Will it? Yes, it will. Caution out once again. We are going to have a shootout for the race win, potentially at least one lap. Mike Alexander in the lead. Ricky Arbo up to second. Ronnie McKay after that contact up to third.
And they were fixing to go 3 wide there with the 48 of Jake Goodwin on the top lane. 61 on the inside. Moved up the slightest bit, and it sent that 66 straight around. The 48 of Goodwin into the wall. Got a piece of that as well. This is going to put us under the caution flag. It's fixing up to be a shootout here for the W with the 15 of Mike Alexander, the 61 Ricky Arbo, Ronald McKay in third, Keith Mack in fourth. Mackenzie Brewer will be restarting 5th as well, so still a lot of fast race cars up here to sort this thing out. No, by the way, we keep talking about the 97 and the 45 here as they continue to do battle on the racetrack. 45 is going to be right on the back bumper of that 97 when we go back green.
That is going to make for a very entertaining finish. Pace car lights currently on as they try to get them sorted out real quick here. It is right now lap 121, currently 5 laps left to go. We should at least have a 1-lap shootout, maybe even a 2-lap shootout when we go back to green flag racing. That it's going to be up to the administrators. The administrators may just throw the yellow flag and end the race now. We'll find out here in about 5 laps. As it stands, Mike Alexander would be your winner if that situation were to come to pass.
And definitely, it's going to be interesting to see how they negotiate this and when that 15 of Mike Alexander gets on that loud pedal coming back to the green flag at a 4. We've seen varying strategies from all our leaders so far. That's going to be the key point of this race. We know the 61 of Arbeau is fast. We know the 97. How about Ronald McKay coming into tonight, obviously doing very, very good as your points leader with 2 wins on the season as well. Looking for number 3. This is not over for him by all means. He can easily get to the inside of the 61 of Arbeau and try to make something work as well. Or if the leaders take themselves out, Ronald McKay can also find himself in victory lane, but he definitely wants to stay where he is now after the people behind him in the points right now. Jake Goodwin in second, having trouble. A solid night for Keith Mack, entering the night third in points in the 22 machine, but finishing where he is right now. That 97 car will definitely improve on that points lead after tonight.
And Mike Alexander potentially walking away with the second top 5, the second win of this season so far, which would only help to boost his campaign as they get ready to go back to green flag racing. Lights are off this time by. It looks like we are going to have a 2-lap shootout for the win here, which I've got a feeling like we'll only get through one of those 2 laps. Mike Alexander, Ricky Arbeau battling for the win. Ronnie McKay, Keith Mack behind him. Mackenzie Brewer, Vic Greenwood in the top 10. Carson Aube, Todd Cousins, Tim Terry.
And definitely here we go side by side going into turn number 3. The pace car is on the pit road and Mike Alexander on the loud pedal right away. The green flag is out. The 97 of Ronald McKay going to slide into second. Now the 61 of Arbeau down to the inside lane going into 1. The 45 making an aggressive move. Keith Mack is in the outside wall. Nobody has spun around quite yet. Now the caution flag will fly. The race is over, and the 15 of Mike Alexander going to go to victory lane as they wreck it coming out of turn number 2, and the 38 of Travis Roma's car is torn up. We've seen him in lots of stuff so far tonight. Looks like he had more electrical issues on that front straightaway. Got turned by the 48 machine of Jake Goodwin, slid all the way through the inside grass, came up and took out the 54 of Carson Abui coming up, sliding up into the track in turns number 1 and 2. Tough way to end it for some of those guys, but a good win for Mike Alexander once it's all said and done. He's going to pick up race win number 2 on this campaign.
Ronnie McKay, Ricky Arbeau finishing top 3. Mackenzie Brewer, Vic Greenwood but score him for his first top 5 of the season tonight. Keith Mack, Tim Terry finishing in the top 10. Todd Cousins finishing, I believe, his second top 10 of this series. Carson Aube will finish in the top 10 as well. Kevin Savory logging the top 10 as well. Only the top 10 cars finishing on the lead lap. Martin Landry, Mark Williams, Jeff Gilman, John Gahan, Travis Roma finishing top 15. Jake Goodwin, Doug Ubley, Steve Matthews, Nathan Doherty, and Carter Wilson rounding out your top 20. Mike Alexander getting ready to burn him out here, and it looks like he's had a little company on the front straightaway. Mike Alexander, your big winner here at Thompson International Speedway for the McKinnon's Garage 125, part of the Maritime iRacing League. When we come back, we'll talk to your top 3 finishers and get a preview of what we're going to see next Wednesday night from the Maritime iRacing League. Mike Alexander, your winner. We'll hear from him next live on LSRTV. 125 laps done here at Thompson International Speedway. Mike Alexander, your big winner. Ronnie McKay second. Ricky Arbo third. Mackenzie Brewer fourth. Vic Greenwood plugging his top five for the season. Keith Mack, Tim Terry, Todd Cousins, Carson Aube, Kevin Savory to your top 10. Martin Landry, Mark Williams, Jeff Gilmet, John Gahan, Travis Romo rounding out your top 15. Jake Goodwin, Doug Ubley, Steve Matthews, Nathan Doherty, and Carter Wilson, your top 20. Chuck Morehouse, Mike Rhino finishing off the track in the 21st and 22nd positions, respectively. Mike Alexander picking up his second win here at the McKinnon's Garage, 125 at Thompson Motor Speedway. We will talk to him in just a moment. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and talk to your second place finisher coming out of the car, Ron McCang in the 97 machine. And Ron, it looked like you guys are just as surprised as we were that you guys ended up with a top 5 finish.
Yeah, we had a bit of a raw deal in qualifying. Just scraped the wall just ever so slightly coming out of 4 for the checkers, and of course that doesn't count when you do that. So we ended up starting pretty far in the back and just sort of bide our time through the whole race and dodged the carnage, and we made it to the front. And when we pitted that last time, I just told myself, we're not going back in again. I don't care where we finish, but I'm not going back in the pack. And it worked out good. Mike got a real good restart on that last start there, and I just followed him down through the corner and held it wide open off the corner. And I was telling Ricky, I was just hoping to God it was going to stick so I could sneak in front of him there. And lucky enough, it all worked out.
Definitely seemed to work out for you guys and your team. A lot of contentious driving here tonight at Thompson. How would you describe the track and the quality of driving out there?
Well, I mean, the quality of driving in this league is probably in the top 3 in all of iRacing as far as late models go. But this track is it's not a nice place. I don't like this place at all. I don't think anybody really does. I'm pretty sure Ricky had the best car all night. He just got caught up in something around the middle of the race, but it's just so hard to race here. The bottom groove does not work. You can have 20, 30 laps on your tires. The guy behind you can come out with 4 fresh ones, and I mean, unless he lays on your quarter panel and gets you loose or something, he can't get by you on the bottom. So it's hard to hold your composure sometimes and just wait it out, but we had some guys that we knew we were racing with for the points that had trouble early, and we just sort of bided our time all night. We really weren't racing anyone until the end, and we got ourselves in a couple of good holes there, made up some spots, and came out with a good finish.
You and Mackenzie Brewer seem to have a little bit of a rivalry out there tonight on the track. I'm sure that everything's kosher between you two drivers, but it seemed to be some very hard driving between you and the 45 machine, but you ended up having the advantage of him and the end, finishing second, Mackenzie Brewer finishing fourth.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I told him that I wasn't racing anybody real hard, and he drives down in the corner, and he run into me a few times. He got me in the left front there once doing a slide job, and it kind of messed the car up a little bit, knocked the toe out a little bit, and it wasn't really right after that. But, I mean, you know, Mackenzie's a good little driver, and, you know, he was having a good run. He's usually racing in the other series. He came over here, and I can understand that he was a little bit anxious to get a little closer to the front, and a good top 5 finish for him, but I was just trying to make sure he didn't run me over.
I believe that's his first top 5 finish here in the Super Series. Next week, you will take your points lead over to New Smyrna to defend there continue your points lead going through New Smyrna. What are your thoughts looking at that track in 1 week's time?
Well, we won there back earlier in the season, and car was pretty good. But we got some work to do. We weren't quite as good as we would have liked. We had a top 4 or 5 car, and just made some good moves and good adjustments at the end, and ended up with the win. But the Revolution Racing, Keith and Mike Alexander, Mike Rhino, and them guys, they are always the guys to beat when you go to New Smyrna. So I was talking to Keith the other day, and they've been practicing there. So I think he's found something else. So we're going to have to go to work next week if we're thinking we're going to sweep that place.
Ron McKay finishing second here tonight at Thompson Speedway. Before I let you go, any other shout-outs like to give, anything you'd like to offer for our race fans out there?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to thank LSRTV for doing this. Excellent job, especially short notice last week, and again this week. I'm sure it was just as good. Lauren McKinnon from McKinnon's Garage for sponsoring the race. We wouldn't have you guys if it wasn't for him coming on board. So thanks a lot to him. And Action Car and Truck Accessories, Sean Simple Signs, and Tim's Corner Motorsports helped me out. So big shout out to all them guys.
Ron McKay, your points leader, will continue his points lead going into New Smyrna next week. Congratulations on a big second place finish. We'll see you next week at New Smyrna.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
That was Ronnie McKay finishing second tonight. Let's go ahead and talk to our third place finisher, Ricky Arbeau, as they wheel the number 15 machine of Mike Alexander down to victory lane. Ricky, once again, you've got to be heartbroken. The bridesmaid, always a bridesmaid, never quite the bride here in the Super Series.
Oh, we're definitely having a struggle this season. We've got the cars every week. Cars are always fast. We do a lot of testing all week, and we've discovered something from last year that helps us with our qualifying. So we've been working hard on a happy medium to bring over to our race setups. Tonight was, I brushed the wall in qualifying just a little bit, enough to take the sticker off, and iRacing took the lap from me. It was a 5:24. It was probably the pole time. I was a little upset about that. Started coming up through the field, and a lot of drivers were giving a good respect, a lot of give. They give me some position, so it was kind of nice. And we get caught up in a wreck. Seems to be the way the season's going. Caught up in a wreck every week, but we'll hopefully get over the bad luck and hopefully get one of these soon.
Tonight's track was definitely a challenge for every driver out there, for their ability and for everything they could achieve. From where you were sitting, how hard was it driving this track tonight?
It's definitely a track that'll reach the wall will reach out and grab you some quick. There was a couple times after my car was wrecked. My crew worked on the right front a little bit, but we obviously didn't have enough time to get it completely fixed. So there's a couple times I get up in the groove and that wall would pull you right up there. But my car was good. Every week I have a great race car. I'm always comfortable. I always try to be the fastest in qualifying, but racing I like to be stable. I don't care about the time. It's all about stability.
Next week, you guys are back at New Smyrna. What are your thoughts going into that race, and are we finally going to see the 61 in victory lane at New Smyrna?
Oh, we hope so. We were there earlier in the season, had a strong car. I believe we got wrecked, as usual. But like I say, we'll get over that. But before I go, I really got to thank my sponsor, Energy Hour Productions, Nick Story. This season he come on board, and it's a shame that we're having the luck we're having. But like I told Nick, I said we'll eventually get over it, and third place is a good start considering the night we had starting from the back.
Ricky Arbeau starting from the back, finishing third. We'll see you in 1 week's time at New Smyrna.
Thank you, guys. Great broadcast. Thank you, LSR. Great job, guys.
That's Ricky Arbeau finishing third tonight in the 61 Energy Hour Chevrolet. Now let's go ahead and go to our winner, Mike Alexander, joined by our very special guest interviewer, the man himself, Hollywood Tim Terry.
Well, this will be the only time I get to do this all season, and since Evan Basoko's not here, we'll do this. Mike Alexander comes home with his second victory of the season. You had a battle there mid-race with Jake Goodwin. Let's talk about the battle there first.
Yeah, no, we had a great car. The car was on rails at the beginning of the race there. We were really fast. We were a little bit faster than Jake there, and I got underneath him, and we were both fighting for the same piece of real estate and got together, and he spun out, and I guess he's a little sour about it.
Thompson seemed to be the real tricky curveball, I guess, or the ace of spades here this evening for a lot of these drivers. What did it take to get into victory lane? A lot of guys hitting the wall, a lot of guys trying to find something on the setup. What was it that put your car in victory lane tonight?
Well, I'm not really sure, to be honest. I mean, my car was at the end of the race was garbage, and I really didn't expect to be even in the top 5 right now. But there was a caution there. I think everybody came in and got tires, and I only took 2, and that put us up towards the front, and everything just fell our way.
And even with the one missed race, you're still sitting 7th in the point standings. You're only sitting 5 points out of position number 5 going in to next week. But 2 wins in the starts that we have in 6 starts. It has to feel like a pretty good season so far. What do you do in these next few races to finish it off?
Well, we're having a pretty good year this year. The boys are over at Revolution Racing are putting together some good setups, and we're really fast, all of us, every week. I'm surprised more of them guys haven't got to victory lane yet. But we're gonna keep plugging away and see if we can pick up some more W's.
You got some great sponsors on the car, and as you mentioned, a great team that helps you get to the track each week. Who makes it happen for you?
Our Kinsman's Auto Salvage down on Ross Road. If you need any auto parts, go see them. Revolution Racing, all the boys over there. Speedway Miramichi, CPM. Yeah.
And that's Mike Alexander, Joe, your winner here this evening. 2nd win on the season. You better believe he's going to be gunning for it at New Smyrna. I believe you've caught up with a driver who's got his first top 5 in the Super Series, and I'm sure he's going to have to thank Wanda for this one because I know she's watching. It's Mackenzie Brewer.
Wanda definitely watching along for tonight for the big top 5 finish in Mackenzie Brewer. Mackenzie, you've got to be just thrilled tonight at the big finish you guys had.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good race by everyone. I mean, the top 3 drivers and everyone that was up there, it was a great race. I mean, everyone was so evenly matched up front there, and it was just whoever had the car left into the race was going to win her. I mean, it was a really good race.
Looking to New Smyrna next week, how are you feeling? What are your thoughts going to New Smyrna next week, buddy?
Well, I mean, New Smyrna, you never know what's going to happen there. I mean, I don't know if I'll have just as much car as I had here this week, but I mean, I'll try again and try to do whatever I can.
Mackenzie Brewer picking up his first top 5 of the season. Go ahead and give a shout out to Wanda. I know you want to. I know you're excited to. Go ahead and do it, my friend.
I'd like to thank my grandmother, Wanda Campbell, my grandfather, Brian Campbell, for letting me be able to race each and every Monday. And I'd also like to thank Craig McDonald for helping me spot out there. He was the one that got me through all those wrecks. If I didn't have him, I wouldn't be able to do nothing. I'd be parked from the start of the race.
Mackenzie Brewer finishing with a big top 5 this weekend. We will see you hopefully in 1 week's time when we go to New Smyrna.
Yep, I hope so. If I can get a good finish from the Sportsman race, I'd love to be back here.
Mackenzie Brewer finishing 4th tonight in his first top 5 in the Super Series with the Maritime iRacing League. Before we go, Tim Tinnery, you guys are going to have quite a little bit of work to do in the Red Holler tonight.
Yeah, JD's down there punching all kinds of buttons. Well, I think he's punching buttons. I don't know exactly what he's punching, but I as a driver, I'm upset. I threw away an easy top 5 finish. I ended up getting a little greedy on a restart past Jeff Gilman on the inside, and they black flagged me for it. So I threw away top 5 when I came back out. I was faster than Mikey. So I feel bad. I'm upset with 7th, but I'm also 5th in points. But then again, I'm racing Carter and Mike and Steve for top 5 in points. So it's hard to be upset, but it's yeah. I'm a little disappointed in that. But nevertheless, Lauren McKinnon's Garage for coming on board to sponsor this race. Thank you. We're still looking for a sponsor for New Smyrna. I keep saying that each week and we find one. So we're looking for one for New Smyrna. So if you're out there and you want to get on board with LSRTV and the Maritime iRacing League, do that. We got some work to do. We only race Thompson once a year, and that may be why. I don't know. I like the racetrack, but those guys don't. We only race Bristol once a year. We don't race Bristol this season. That's probably why, too, because it's a one-groove racetrack. But it was fun. You have to do that once in a while, I guess. Congratulations to Mikey on the win, and we'll move on to next week, New Smyrna for the second time around. New Smyrna was a good race the first time, so we'll hopefully see some better racing next week, and then we head to Oxford for the 250, and we're heading somewhere else at the end of that too. So we've got an exciting season coming up, 3 races to close off the season, and again, I don't know how the hell I'm 5th in points, but I don't know. We got to thank our sponsors though. Swan Racing, Tim's Corner Motorsports, JDR Graphics, Ackles Racing, and everybody that was watching. I know you said hi to Kelly McIntyre tonight. I know he's watching out there, and I'm going to run out of time. Laura's going to start playing music. So thank you. I guess the 75 paint scheme is some good luck. So yeah, okay, I'm done. You can close off the show now, Joe.
Tim, before I let you go, we nicknamed you, or I guess your shop nicknamed this car Betty. Did Betty bring you any extra luck?
I got nicknamed Betty earlier in the week from Ackles, so I don't think it brought me any good luck. If it brought me good luck, I would have finished in the top 5 where I should have been running. But no, I'm happy with it. The car looks great. JDR Graphics does absolutely amazing work. So if you need a paint scheme, you go see JDR Graphics because he does some absolutely badass work. But yeah, I don't know. Paint schemes brought us some good luck. 4 straight top 10s. We'll move on to next week, and hopefully we don't throw 8 more points away.
Tim Terry currently 5th in points. As it stands right now, Ronnie McKay increases his lead by about 42 points over Jake Goodwin. Keith Mack 3rd, Kevin Savory 4th, Tim Terry 5th, Carter Wilson 6th, Mike Alexander 7th, Stephen Matthews 8th, Ricky Arbo 9th, and Mike Rhino still top 10 in points. That'll do it for us here from Thompson Motor Speedway. The McKinnon's Garage 125 coming to an end next week. We're back at New Smyrna for 150 laps around that track. Should be a great broadcast, 8 p.m. Atlantic, 7 p.m. Eastern. You won't want to miss it. On behalf of our entire broadcast team, our executive producer and camera operator, Laura Lawson, my partner in crime, Evan Pisoko, our graphics partner, Mr. Punching Everything 23, JD Laird. Check him out at jdrgraphics.com. I am Joe Cortez. We will see you in 1 week's time from New Smyrna Speedway for the Maritime iRacing League. Good night, everybody.
I want you to go back out on that track and hit the pace car. Hit the pace car? Hit the pace car! What for? Because you hit every other goddamn thing out there. I want you to be perfect. Now go on, go!
Fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4, and the checkered flag, he wins his first NASCAR iRacing